All right, let's do it, everybody. 2 hours of fantasy football talk. Here we go. Adam Azer, Chris Towers, Frank Stanful. I guess we are warming up for, some celebrity guests coming on later today. We'll tell you about that. But good afternoon, gentlemen. Chris Towers, where do you want to see Le'Veon Bell go?
I wrote about that on CBSSports.com, Adam. If you ever read my stories, maybe you would know that my number one landing spot for Le'Veon Bell is the Chicago Bears, because last Friday on the Fantasy Football Today newsletter, I referred to David Montgomery as, there's like ugly wins and ugly losses, and you don't really care if it's an ugly win because you still get the W. David Montgomery is an ugly starting fantasy football running back.
Yeah, but
ugly Chris, must start.
Can I interrupt you here?
No.
Yeah, because the report was that he's narrowed it down to 3 teams. And the Bears.
You asked me where I wanted him to go. I
thought you were going to go with one of the 3 teams that he had.
The number one team among that list that was on my list was the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay.
That would be kind of a headache, but I don't think Clyde Edwards-Helaire has played more than 63% of the snaps in any game, and I think he's been below 60% the last few. So there is room for a second running back in that offense. We know that offense is incredibly efficient and good for running backs, and he would be one heck of a Clyde Edwards-Helaire insurance policy. I think he would be a flex starter in Kansas City if CEH is healthy. And I mean, assuming he has anything left, he would be probably a top 10 back if Edwards-Helaire got hurt.
All right, let's do it. Let's do a Twitch poll. Where do you want to see Le'Veon Bell end up? Chiefs, Bills, Dolphins. Those are the 3 teams. I can already tell Chris and I are going to be sparring today. By the way, if you're watching on the Twitch Sports channel, come on over to our channel, FF Today. Join us, and there you can ask us chat questions. I'll be reading your questions at FF Today. Frank Stanful, where do you want to see Le'Veon Bell go? Please don't pick one of your teams that are not on the list of 3. Bills, Dolphins.
And by the way, that list kind of didn't it get extended to 4? Wasn't there a report that the Patriots are also in on him?
Oh, okay. Separate. Yeah.
So right. Yeah.
My bad.
Put however many teams you want, Frank. Don't listen to Adam.
Yeah, I think Kansas City would be the best for his value for the reasons that Chris laid out. I think CEH is probably still going to play 60% of the snaps and probably see close to 60% of the touches. But if Bell went there, I think that he can probably get like around 10 touches per game in a really, really good offense, and they'll probably line him up as like a receiver at times too. So it would be great for his value. I don't know that it would be great for Clyde Edwards-Helaire's value. So I think most people on that poll are probably not going to vote for the Chiefs if they own CEH because they do not want Le'Veon Bell to mess things up there. But I'd probably put the Miami Dolphins second.
The key question with CEH is, do the Chiefs care that he's been bad near the goal line? Like, I think that really, because he has been bad near the goal line, and that probably does not mean he will continue to be bad near the goal line. But if they are worried about that and they think Le'Veon Bell could be a more effective player near the goal line, that could be really bad for CEH.
All right, well, I think the best place for Bell is the Dolphins because I think, I can't imagine they're married to Myles Gaskin. He's not going to go. I'm surprised you guys said the Chiefs. He's not going to go to Kansas City and become the starting running back. So he could go to Miami and become a starting running back. He could go to Buffalo and become a starting running back, but I think it'd be an easier path in Miami. I voted for the Bills because, if you look at the Chiefs, Bills, Dolphins, we know the Chiefs have a must-start running back. Everybody starts CEH every week. The Dolphins pretty much have a must-start running back at this point. Zach Moss practiced in full today. I don't think the Bills have a must-start running back. They just don't give the goal line work to Devin Singletary unless there are injuries. They're not consistent enough. So I would like for him to go to the Bills because I don't have any Le'Veon Bell, and I just want him to screw. I want the least amount of screwing up possible, and screwing up Devin Singletary. I'd rather have Myles Gaskin than Devin Singletary. So let's just get him on the Bills.
Yeah, I guess the problem with the Bills is you'd go from maybe 1.5, 2 fantasy relevant running backs to maybe 0 there.
Exactly. That's fine. I just I don't want to take away from any must-start running backs. And you'd be doing that with the Dolphins. You'd be doing that with the Chiefs. I don't think you're doing that with the Bills. I don't know that they have a must-start. Singletary is a probably start for a lot of people.
I think Singletary and Moss can both be relevant. And now, I guess the problem would be you'd be going from 3 fantasy relevant running backs between the Bills and Jets to 0 between the two of them now. If he signed there, that would be my concern at least.
Right, but what I'm saying is we wouldn't be losing like a must start guy. Gaskin is pretty much a must start at this point. And obviously CEH. Whatever. Let's read the questions. Let's see what the polls are saying. The poll says the Bills 41%, Chiefs 24%, Dolphins 19%, other 16%. And here we go. We're going to answer your questions from 4 to 6 p.m. today. We have Gary Barnidge joining us in the second hour. Gary Barnidge, former tight end for the Carolina Panthers and the Cleveland Browns, has a 1,000-yard season on his resume, one of the better tight end seasons you're going to see. And he's on the Amazing Race this season. So we're going to ask him about that. Dave Richards also coming on at the 5 o'clock hour. And we have Jake from St. Jude coming on. It's a charitable organization that we work with a lot. Jake's going to come on and talk Buffalo Bills as they get ready to face the Chiefs on Monday. Okay. G. Kozak, who do I flex? Darrell Henderson, T. Higgins, Laviska Shenault, Jarvis Landry, or Fulgham. Darrell Henderson, T. Higgins, Shenault, Landry, Fulgham, PPR. Also, Goff or Ryan.
Landry hasn't practiced this week, so that's something to keep an eye on. I think it's a hip. And
Shenault
has been limited in the first 2 days of practice.
Let's get him out there because that's my guy. Who would you guys go with here?
If Shenault plays, I think I would lean him. If not, it's so hard to trust Henderson, but I think it's probably him.
Yeah, I think it's between Henderson and Shenault as well. But the PPR factor, I think it's 3 straight games with 6+ targets for Laviska Shenault. Plus, DJ Chark is injured as well, so could lead to even more targets for Shenault. So I would probably lean in that direction as well.
Goff or Ryan?
Ryan.
Yeah.
Well,
I just don't think
Ryan if Julio's out.
I don't think the Rams are going to have to pass much in this game, though.
And they don't want to pass.
They don't. 49ers run defense has been pretty good. They don't pass much at all. Goff has been so unbelievably efficient this year. His stats make no sense. He's been very lucky. I'll get into that on the podcast tomorrow. Yards after catch, way, way up, just unsustainable, for his receivers. I can't start Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan has, I think, 32 points combined the last 3 weeks without Julio Jones, or with Julio Jones leaving with an injury. So it comes down to Julio for me. Are you cool? Are you guys cool with that?
Sure.
Great. All right. Chef said NY. It sounds like they want to start Ryan no matter what. That's fine. Chef said NYC. McLaurin, Juju, Godwin, Justin Jefferson. Pick 2. McLaurin, Juju, Godwin, Justin Jefferson.
McLaurin, for sure.
Agreed.
And
I'm starting Godwin.
Godwin if he plays, yeah. And it seems like he will. Him and Mike Evans were both limited today as well as yesterday, which is a good sign.
Yeah. All right, cool. Gabe the Ghost. Claypool, Debo Samuel, Philip Lindsay, PPR. Claypool, Debo, Philip Lindsay.
I'm got to see what happens with Deontay Johnson. He returned to limited practice today.
Yeah.
But I don't hate the matchup for Claypool. And it also comes down to what the Broncos plan to do with Melvin Gordon. So you have to pay attention to the news like all over with this situation here. But if we get any indication that Gordon's going to be limited or Philip Lindsay's going to start as like a disciplinary issue towards Melvin Gordon, then I would lean with Lindsay. But if he's just expected to be the backup, I would go with Claypool.
I think that's fair.
Okay, from Fruits Chin Samurai. Jonathan Taylor or Ronald Jones?
Oh, Taylor.
Yeah.
I think Taylor is a buy low right now before this game against the Bengals.
Oh, yeah, he's got a pretty good schedule coming up, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sexy. And he's got a safe workload. Like last week should have been a game where Jonathan Taylor didn't get a lot of work and he still dominated. So I think he's just a must-start guy.
From Nashwave 29, I think Damiere Byrd might be a sleeping giant this week. Oh. He probably deserves a little more credit for what he's done. He's had like 2 games of 70 or more yards, but I just don't think they're going to have to throw much.
He was Cam Newton's favorite target in training camp. I think like Rex Burkhead, I think, led the team in catches from Cam Newton, but Damiere Byrd was the guy who was, among the wide receivers, who was the number one target. I don't know. I don't think he's that good.
Wasn't his best game without Cam Newton as his quarterback, which was his last game?
Yeah,
no.
I think so.
Oh, yes. 5 catches for 80 yards at Kansas City. Yes.
Yeah, and I think the Patriots, you can kind of figure out just based on what the spread says. Like, they're 9-point favorites in this game against the Broncos. I just don't think they're going to have to pass all that much. And we've seen that in games where they're not playing from behind. Cam is just going to run. They're going to run with Damian Harris. They're going to run with Rex Burkhead. And I don't think they're going to have to pass all that much.
All right. Yeah. Variance asks, can we ask Grade the Trade? I have a fun one. Of course you can ask Grade the Trade. Bring it on. Here's a trade from Rudy Lara 01. Trade Michael Thomas for Joe Mixon. I need a running back.
I got this question yesterday and on the Fantasy Football Today newsletter, and I said, yeah, you make that trade. Michael Thomas, I guess you're a little worried that he might come back like Saquon Barkley did last season and not be at 100% and maybe need a few games, but like he's 4 weeks, he's going to be 5 full weeks removed from the injury now after the bye. So yeah, he should be fine. Michael Thomas is, the number one wide receiver moving forward if you don't count the bye.
Wait, but which side would you rather have? Because this person,
Michael Thomas.
Oh, so don't do it because this person.
No, yeah, don't
mix him.
Yeah, I was going to say C-. I still think Michael Thomas has more upside rest of season, and I'm not really worried because you mentioned how much time he's had off, Chris. Like, I expect all systems go for Michael Thomas once he returns, and it seems like they kind of need him too. So I just think he's going to be better than Joe Mixon rest of season.
Yeah, he won't get the volume he did last year with Emmanuel Sanders like showing signs of life the last 2 weeks, but he's still going to be arguably the best receiver in fantasy.
C# 1990, Scary Terry or Jamison Crowder, half PPR.
I
don't want the answer to be Jamison Crowder. I don't want to have to bench a really good player like Terry McLaurin for Joe Flacco's number one wide receiver. But you probably have to. Oh, man, that matchup against the Giants should be really good, though.
Let me ask you guys, does this matter at all? I was looking into one of the things that I do for the matchup grid that publishes to CBS is that I look into weather. And apparently the Dolphins game against the Jets is expected to be like thunderstorms with like 15-mile-per-hour winds. Does that matter at all?
Wind is really the only wind. And I guess like if you get one of those games where there's like 3.5 feet of snow, those are the only real weather factors that you worry about. So it's still so far away that, and like the weather in South Florida, Adam and I having lived there, we both know it could be a thunderstorm for 45 minutes. And then it could be, bright skies the rest of the game. So it's really hard to say there. That could maybe be a tiebreaker. And I guess in this situation, this is pretty close to a tie. Those guys both seem like must-start fantasy wide receivers to me.
I lean with McLaurin, but pay attention to see if Perryman and Denzel Mims are back for the Jets, because I think that will affect Jamison Crowder's target share somewhat.
All right. Shane Tuck wants to know Ryan Tannehill or Cam Newton rest of season. Ryan Tannehill or Cam Newton?
Cam, but it's close.
Chris is like, Cam.
What's nice is, and this is something to keep in mind, given that only 8 teams now will have had their bye so far, but both of those guys have had their bye. So, if you're making trades, if you're thinking about who to keep, obviously both of those guys have had their buys, but use that as a tiebreaker in other situations.
Okay. Derrick Henry is not really having a great year yet, and he's been fine for fantasy. He really should have 150 yards and 2 touchdowns this week. Just like he should. If he doesn't have 150 and 2, you should be very disappointed with Derrick this week.
But like that's
has to be that.
He's going to get his 22 carries and
it's a joke.
He just needs to get like 1 70-yard run. Like that's always going to be the thing with Derrick Henry. If he gets one of those 70-yard touchdown runs, he's going to have a massive game. If not, he's still going to have like 80 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm just saying the Texans are horrible and it just sets up so perfectly for them. All right. Cali Cowboy. Start 4. CeeDee Lamb, McLovin, Crowder, Godwin, Connor, and Chenault. Lamb, McLaurin, Crowder, Godwin, Connor, and Chenault.
I think you're sitting Chenault. Well, you're definitely sitting Chenault among that group. It might be Lamb.
Yeah, it's Lamb. Frankie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't feel good about benching Lamb.
No, you definitely don't. But do you feel good about benching McLaurin?
No. Well,
Or Godwin if he's healthy?
We got to see if Godwin plays too.
Sure.
But obviously, yeah. If Godwin's out, then I would start Lamb. If Godwin plays, then yeah, I guess you have to bench him and Chenault.
From Tony Mudd, Cam Newton or Gardner Minshew this week?
I'm going to go with Cam. I still like that game a lot, the Jags and Lions, but I do worry a little bit about Minshew's production if DJ Chark is out. The last time DJ Chark was out was against the Dolphins on Thursday Night Football, and Gardner Minshew did not look good in that game.
That was really the only time he struggled in the red zone. He's been really good in the red zone so far, but it became very obvious, I think, when they gave 2 targets to D.D. Westbrook in the fourth quarter in the red zone that they really need DJ Chark down there. So I would go Newton.
Agent Travel. Should I drop Le'Veon Bell for Leonard Fournette?
No. I want to see what happens with Bell first.
Here comes a scoop from Charlie Coleslaw, which may or may not be true. Twitch, by the way, totally screwed me on Sunday with some bad information. I got some Twitch beef. Bell and Mahomes just started following each other on Twitter. What?
We gotta get full college football coach search going and look for airplanes flying to different cities, and this is always my favorite. I love the silly LeBron started following a bakery in Los Angeles. That means he's, and it's sometimes it works. Maybe he just wants to chat with Pat.
It is true. Shraggy B confirming that Le'Veon Bell did just start following Patrick Bell on Twitter.
Wow. Okay.
All right, guys. Le'Veon Bell to the Chiefs. Your fantasy reaction rate. Okay, we'll wait. Actually, we'll wait for the official. Preston Williams or Will Fuller?
Oh, it's got to be Fuller.
Yes.
Yeah. Who do I flex? Darrell Henderson. Oh, did we do this one? We did this one. All right, I'm gonna get some fresh questions over here. Scroll down a little bit in Twitch. Okay, Nick Livin. Ooh, I like this one. He put the word stupidly in caps and it caught my eye. So let's see what it says. Hey guys, I stupidly dropped Gesicki for Schultz. That's dumb. Now I only have Schultz, but Ebron and Hawkinson are out there, half PPR. Which should I go with this week and what is best long-term?
I think Hawkinson. I do want to see if Ebron practiced today because he had a hand injury.
Yeah, Hawkinson for me. I mean, Ebron and Hawkinson both have great matchups, but what's the stat I had on the Jaguars? Let's see, tight ends against Jacksonville. Search the old notes. No tight end has had more than 5 targets against the Jaguars, yet 3 tight ends have scored at least 1 touchdown, and 5 tight ends have had 45 or more receiving yards, all without 5 or more targets, or more than 5 targets. So set up for a nice game for Hawkinson. Of course, he'll let us down because I said all that, but all right. So Chase Claypool or Mike Evans at flex?
Evans, assuming he plays. But yeah. I think, this question is answered by who plays. You know what I'll say? It sucks that there's no Thursday Night Football, but at least we don't have to make any crazy decisions like, should I play this guy on Thursday Night Football versus waiting until Sunday to see if this guy plays. So sucks there's no football tonight, but at least it makes decisions a little bit easier.
Well, I just started The Haunting of Bly Manor last night, so I am actually looking forward to tearing through a few episodes of that this evening. I'm very much in the Halloween spirit.
That's the sequel to The Haunting of Hill House. Is that true?
Yes. Well, is it a sequel? No, it's the same series, but that one has nothing to do with the other. But
it's an anthology series.
Yeah. It's like
American Horror Story.
Like American Horror Story, but good.
Oh my gosh.
The Haunting of Hill House was exceptional. I mean, it was
very, very good.
You liked it?
I loved it.
Oh,
I don't watch scary things.
Awesome. Chris, cuddle up with your cat. Watch The Haunting of Hill House. Come on, dude.
I did. No, I like Stranger Things because I only watch TV with my wife. I don't watch anything it took me 6 months to watch Star Wars Rebels because I could only watch it when she went to sleep. And so she got terrified. She was too scared to watch Stranger Things. She was and that is not a particularly scary show.
Yeah, season 1 was a little spooky.
Season 1 was a little because there was the thing in the wall, but no, for the most part it's
great scene with the letters. Wasn't that great scene? Okay. from let's see, I knew a SF. Every time I say something now, Chris, I just curse. Mike Evans and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I get Thielen and James Conner. So give up Evans and CEH for Thielen and Conner. It's interesting.
I wouldn't do that.
Seems like a pretty fair deal. It's kind of a wash.
You're gonna change your mind if Le'Veon Bell signs with the Chiefs.
Yeah, that's like I think
Mahomes on Twitter.
I think Thielen is actually more valuable than Evans, and I think that assuming Bell doesn't sign with the Chiefs, CEH probably slightly has more value. But just based on the way I laid that out, I think I prefer the Conner and the Thielen side. Thielen leads the NFL in target share and leads the NFL in air yard share, like for his team. He's like 48% of the air yards.
And Mike Evans is 66th in the NFL in air yards per target, which is really low.
He's also getting he's got like 3, 1, or 2.
No, but I looked into, so if you take out all targets inside of the 10-yard line, he is still 55th in air yards per target. Last season, if you took out all targets inside of the 10, he was 3rd. So there's a lot going on. He played through that hamstring injury, didn't miss a week. He's played through what sounds like it might be a high ankle sprain. So it could be just that. Like, Tom Brady has been willing to throw deep. He's like 16th in average intended air yards, which is it's not Jameis Winston, but it's not terrible. Like, they went from 400 air yards on average per game to 300. That's a big drop, but that doesn't explain what's happened to Mike Evans. Tom Brady's not looking for him deep, but he's looking for Scotty Miller deep, and he was looking for OJ Howard deep. And so maybe Evans gets healthy. I am very concerned about Mike Evans, but
I'll take the Thielen side.
Okay. I am a little concerned about Conner. Just doesn't seem like he's really having that good of a year, except for one long run against Denver late in the game. I think people are a little too concerned about him, but I get it. I get the concerns. He's injury prone. They got Benny Snell a little bit more involved last week.
Anthony McFarland's playing like a not insignificant role either.
McFarland, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. By the way, if you're watching on Twitch Sports and you want to ask us a question, come on over to the FF Today channel. We're live until 6 p.m. talking fantasy football. We're going to have Gary Barnidge on at 5:30 to talk about the Amazing Race and, the NFL. I've asked him some questions about his 8-year career and his 1,000-yard season. One of the better seasons. You don't see a lot of that. You really don't see a lot of 1,000-yard seasons from tight ends. The ones who do are really good. So, love to ask him about that question, about that season. Anyway, Delaware Allen, Mecole Hardman, DJ Moore, or Justin Jefferson, half PPR.
Yeah, I think this comes down between DJ Moore and Justin Jefferson. I'll take Jefferson, assuming that game happens. So you have to see what happens with this COVID situation with the Falcons, obviously. But I expect a shootout there. I'll take Jefferson.
I would go with Moore.
Here's a stat for Jefferson, by the way. He's facing the Falcons in 4 of 5 games. The Falcons have allowed 92 yards or a touchdown to multiple wide receivers in the same game. 4 out of 5 times. Seattle, Dallas, Chicago, and Carolina. 2 receivers had either 92 yards or a touchdown. They are just awful. I think that's an interesting game because people are going to go to Cousins, as a streamer. And it's like, are they going to be able to run the ball? If they can't run the ball that successfully and somehow the Falcons have had a decent run defense, then they're going to have to throw. And that makes me confident in Jefferson. And they'll probably be able to run the ball. They run the ball pretty effectively, even without, Dalvin Cook. What's up, Fat Pat the River Rat? Shout out to you. Let's see. If from Agent Travel, if Le'Veon Bell goes to the Chiefs, is he even worth keeping?
I think so. I think, obviously you wouldn't use him this week, and I'm not even sure about next week, but I think he will eventually work his way into a flex role again. Like, I think he can work into around 10 touches per game, and in the Chiefs offense, sure. Yeah. I think that is definitely flex worthy especially with bye weeks coming up.
This one's from Big Daddy Declan 2. I have Tyler Lockett, Terry McLaurin, and Kenny Golladay. Lockett, McLaurin, and Golladay. Do I trade Raheem Mostert and A.J. Brown for Derrick Henry?
Yes. You get a top 5 running back.
I guess.
Okay.
I don't know. I think A.J. Brown might just be a top 12 wide receiver moving forward.
Fun for Willis. Fitzmagic this weekend against the Jets or Dalton against the Cardinals?
I'll take Fitzmagic.
Magic, yeah. Big Ben or Stafford?
I like both. I would go with Ben.
Yeah, I have these guys back to back. I have Ben one spot higher.
Your boy 24. Grade the trade. Miles Sanders and Tyler Lockett for Josh Jacobs and Tyler Boyd. Miles Sanders and Tyler Lockett for Jacobs and Boyd.
I like the Sanders side more. So if you're getting that side, B.
And if you're not getting that side, I will say C-.
SoCal Sun Devil, Big Ben or Cam?
Ben.
Yeah.
From Metapal. Pick 2, standard scoring. Robbie Anderson, Juju, Will Fuller, and Tyler Boyd. Standard scoring. Anderson, Juju, Fuller, Boyd.
How many? 2?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Fuller for sure for one of them. And
Anderson.
Let's go Fuller and Anderson.
Fuller and Anderson. Okay. From Mitchell Maracchio. Bell for Gibson and Higgins. Would you give up Le'Veon Bell for Gibson and yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
100%.
Absolutely. Okay.
I love Higgins, by the way. I'm trying to trade for him in like all of my dynasty and keeper leagues.
Yeah, I don't know how much longer AJ Green's going to be there.
It wouldn't surprise me if he got cut, honestly.
Yeah. Okay. Der Comic Czar. Can you play Gardner Minshew if DJ Chark is out? Fitzmagic is available.
So if Chark is out, I would use Fitzy over Minshew. I'm currently ranking Minshew as if Chark is not going to play, and I have him just outside my top 12.
I think I'd rather play Fitzmagic either way.
Yeah. I don't really like Fitzmagic, by the way. Can I just tell you that?
Like the nickname or the player?
The nickname?
The nickname. I don't know. Just like, I don't really like it. Rather just call him Fitzpatrick.
But the fun thing is that you got the double nickname. Because when things are going well, it's Fitzmagic. When things are going poorly, it's Fitztragic. That's what works.
Okay. Well, that's a great point. I guess I didn't really consider that.
It probably shouldn't be Fitzmagic, because whenever we think there's about to be magic, there's not. Like, let's be honest, man.
That's
like
what magic. That's what magic is.
Oh gosh! When we tried to stream him against the Seahawks, he was not good. I mean, he got saved by a rushing touchdown late. He threw an interception.
That's magic. That's magic, baby.
Oh.
Ryan Fitzpatrick rushing for 47 yards and a touchdown. That's magic. That only happens in the magical world of Harry Potter.
Right.
Magic is pretty amazing. Like, my 6-year-old niece did a magic trick the other day, and I was like blown away. It was like it's just always amazing to me. I'm
way too gullible, and so I just it's embarrassing, frankly. When you like, no, well, just they're like, oh, I tricked you. It's like, well, yeah, now people are laughing at me. So I don't like magic.
Don't ruin magic for everybody. This is from B Dubs. Matthew Stafford or Andy Dalton rest of season.
I'll still take Stafford. Yep.
Stafford is one of my favorite buy low quarterbacks if you lost Dak.
And his buy he's already passed his buy as well.
From Ascari, full PPR. I need replacements in case Minnesota and Atlanta does not go. Any good waiver add-ons? No Fulgham or Claypool on waivers. No, this was the worst waiver wire week ever. But yeah, of course there are some players.
Yeah, I mean,
I think if Chark is out, I don't hate Keelan Cole.
That was exactly where I was going. Yep.
Yeah.
If Deshaun Jackson's out there, he could be back this week.
I'd rather see Alshon Jeffries out. Well, I don't know, actually.
Who
would you rather take a shot on?
I think Adam Kaplan, I think he's ESPN's Eagles reporter, said he expects Travis Fulgham to be the starting X receiver moving forward, and that's typically Alshon Jeffries' spot. So it wouldn't shock me if Fulgham took Jeffries' spot.
I don't really like them that's interesting, by the way. I don't really like them this week against Baltimore, though. That's about as bad as it gets as a matchup. So who could you get on waivers? Christian Kirk might be available.
I was going to say Kirk Keelan Cole, Preston Williams are probably the three that stand out most to me. That could be available. And I'll point out the Ravens cornerbacks are banged up, so just see if they're healthy and if they're going to play this week. But obviously that would help Fulgham if, Jimmy Smith or Marcus Peters didn't play.
Yeah, and as far as running backs go, J.D. McKissick is rostered in 27% of leagues, and LaMichael Pirine is rostered in how many leagues? 20% of leagues. Those are two running backs you could take a look at. All right, Andrea Buffalo, I need two. James Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, Miles Sanders, Alexander Madison, PPR. James Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, Miles Sanders, Alexander Madison.
Madison and Sanders.
What? Okay.
Yes.
Are we not a little worried about Miles Sanders here?
Yeah, I kind of like Madison and Robinson.
Like, I'm starting Sanders, but these are four great options here.
Sure.
No,
So I don't think I'm starting Sanders out of this group.
Are you starting Robinson over him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that
He's
matchup against
Been
Detroit.
kind of not great the last couple of weeks himself.
No, just 1 week. This is the first game with less than 90 total yards.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Miles Sanders is a much more dynamic player. He just had a good game against the Steelers. The offense can't be worse moving forward. I know it's a tough matchup, but I don't know. I guess I struggle with, like, Miles Sanders is not someone I drafted to play matchups with, and he hasn't been bad at all, let alone bad enough for me to have changed my opinion in that regard.
I agree with you, Chris, but I think when you have four running backs that are this good, you kind of do have to play the matchups.
I don't know. I think, one, we would look at Sanders a lot. Like, he's averaging 100 yards per game right now, and that's with Carson Wentz missing him on a couple of just absolute layup easy plays. I think there was one deep touchdown pass that Wentz overthrew him on that should have been a touchdown, and there have been a couple other downfield passes. Sanders, I think, I don't know if you can call him a buy low candidate coming off a 2-touchdown game against the Steelers, but I think he's just an absolute must-start fantasy option.
Well, he had a 74-yard touchdown run. He had 10 carries for 6 yards and a touchdown aside from that. That's following a week where he had 13 carries for 46 yards. So that's 2 weeks with a combined 24 carries. I am concerned that the Ravens are going to run up the score a little bit. The Ravens' vulnerability is running backs in the passing game. So if Wentz can connect with Miles Sanders, then we're talking here.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been a great connection so far. So I understand exactly where you're coming from. I was, probably the biggest Miles Sanders fan at CBS, me and Ben Gretsch. So I love him. But their line stinks. It's just terrible. The Ravens' run defense has been very good. So I think you can get away from him if you have Mike Davis, if you have Alexander Madison, if you have James Robinson. I think you can. And Andrea happens to have two of them, not Mike Davis. It's tough to sit Jonathan Taylor, too. My goodness, Andrea.
Yeah, but in PPR, I would use Miles Sanders over Taylor. Although I really like Taylor, but his usage in the pass game has gone down since I think it was like week 1 where he had that big receiving game.
Hey, someone just sent us $5 to answer this question. Should I trade Jonathan Taylor and Odell Beckham for Michael Thomas and David Johnson? Jonathan Taylor and Beckham to get Michael Thomas and David Johnson.
Yes.
Yeah, I would do that.
That is really close, but I as much as I like Michael Thomas, is it worth it to take on David Johnson? Like, I just don't feel good about David Johnson at all.
I don't feel great about David Johnson. I don't feel great about Odell Beckham. I don't feel great about the Colts offense.
Yeah. All right. Well, it didn't take much, but you talked me into it, Chris.
Okay. This one's for Frank. IDP question.
Oh, right.
Should I start Tracy Walker or Landon Collins?
Oh, no doubt you have to start Landon Collins. He's going up against the Giants. It's a revenge game.
Dude, Tracy Walker is like a tackling machine.
I honestly have no idea.
Yeah, me either. I'm just looking at it now. He had 12 tackles, 10 solo a few weeks ago. He had 8 tackles in week 1. But Daniel Jones is probably going to throw 2 interceptions to Landon Collins. I go Tracy Walker. What do I know? Should I drop Dearness Johnson for Rex Burkhead? I'm desperate this week.
No.
No.
You have to
I don't-
start one of them, though.
I don't feel good about starting Burkett either.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to sound gross, but I would probably look at one of the Jets running backs instead, like if you're in a real pinch.
From Noob Booty, okay, half PPR. J.D. McKissick or Russell Gage at flex?
Ooh, I'll go with McKissick.
Dude, Russell Gage has won the Mohamed Sanu waiver wire award, which is you pick the guy up after he has 2 or 3 great games and then he's horrible. That's what Sanu used to do, and now Russell Gage has joined the party.
Yeah, I do wonder if he's healthy. I know he left the game with concussion. He's been dealing with a shoulder thing, but yeah, it's been a disappointing 3 weeks.
All right, Rafifa says, I just traded CeeDee Lamb for Jonathan Taylor. What are your thoughts?
A+.
Good job.
I like that a lot.
B-dubs again. James Robinson or Kareem Hunt, half PPR?
James,
Oh, that's super close. Kareem Hunt's going to probably get 20 to 25 touches, but it's in a tough matchup against Pittsburgh. I will still go with Kareem Hunt.
yeah.
The offensive line has played really well for the Browns in terms of run blocking.
All right. All right, we are here till 6 p.m. Frank and Chris are here till 5 p.m.
Oh,
It is 4:38 p.m.
I guess we're getting kicked off, Frank.
Oh, you weren't aware of these scheduling?
No,
notes?
it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
I brought it up before we started, but Chris was like, I'm staying for 2 hours. I don't care.
I've got other things to do. It's fine.
Yeah, Frank does not want to. Oh, perfectly splendid, says Mitchell. Yes, good call. Bly Manor. Don't spoil anything else. I've only seen 1 episode. I'll get to your
Got
question.
a lot of other friends.
Just a sec. Oh, we already answered your question, Mitchell. Bell for Gibson and Higgins. Yes, you take that deal. Crowder or Claypool from the Yips?
Crowder.
Yeah.
Bellefontaine, Devontae Freeman or James White?
Freeman.
Freeman.
I like what I've seen from Freeman. He's a low end RB2 for me this week.
Okay, from Steve. He spells it with a lot of E's, so it's Steve. Lindsay, James White or DeAndre Swift? And he says Adrian Peterson did not practice today.
Yeah, Adrian Peterson did get sent home with an illness today. It is not COVID related, according to reports, which makes you think that he should be able to play this week.
Lindsay's obvious if Gordon's out. Otherwise, it's Lindsay, White, or Swift. Who are you going with?
Yeah, if Gordon plays, I would put Lindsey third on this list. I think it's really close between White and Swift. I'll lean with Swift. I hope that coming out of the bye that they just get him more involved. And he's had a pass game role all season, but if we could just get like a consistent 10 to 12 touch role for him, or maybe even more as the season goes on, I would really like to see that. But I'll take Swift. I don't know that James White is going to be needed much in this game.
The only thing I struggle with is before the season, it did sound like Lindsey had worked his way into pretty much just a 50-50 split with Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon's been good. But given the off-field issue this week, maybe it goes back to being a 50-50 split, in which case you could be turning down 14 or 15 touches.
From Beaston 12th Man. All right, here we go. Are you going to have the guts to sit Aaron Jones? Aaron Jones, Mike Davis, Alexander Madison, half PPR, pick 2.
You sit Madison.
I would use Madison and Aaron Jones.
I would sit Aaron Jones.
No.
There's just no way you can sit Aaron Jones.
Dude, Mike Davis in the last 3 games,
I understand.
Number 2 running back. And
Aaron Jones is the number 2 running back since the start of last season.
So here's
I'm off the top of my head, but it sounds right, and I said it with confidence.
Probably close to right.
He was number 2 last year, right?
In full PPR, yes. In non, I think he was 3rd behind Henry. I think. So if Vita Vea were playing, then I would say confidently I'd sit Aaron Jones here. Confidently. Confidently I'd start Mike Davis and Alexander Madison. Vita Vea is out for the year. I don't know what that's going to mean for the Bucs run defense, but that is the best run defense in the NFL with Vita Vea. They still have talent there. This is an impossibly tough question. You really want to see Alexander Madison? He just had like 20 carries in 1/2, basically.
I understand that.
They combined for 45 touches last week.
All they do is run the ball.
Yeah, and I don't care that the Falcons are good on like a yards per carry basis. They have gone back to giving up a ton of receptions to running backs this season, and I think Madison is going to be used in that regard. I think he's a really good receiver as well. This is extremely, extremely close, but I'll take Aaron Jones. He's seen so many targets.
Aaron Jones.
Yeah, I'm going Jones and Madison.
Like Devontae Adams coming back will cut into Aaron Jones' passing usage. That's been the case since the start of last season. For whatever reason, they just decide that if Devontae Adams is playing, they don't have to use Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams in the downfield passing role. That's been frustrating, but it's Aaron Jones. Like I can't call me a fish, call me a coward, but I'm not sitting Aaron Jones. I didn't invest in him with a second round pick to do that. And he has done the opposite of nothing to lose his job, lose that.
I'm not dissing on Aaron Jones.
You are.
No, I'm not. It's
Yes.
Davis and Alexander Madison. You know what? I'm going to check. I just want to see where the guys have them ranked in PPR. Madison is Jamie goes Zeke, Mike Davis, Madison, Jones. Dave goes Zeke, Davis, Jones, Madison. Keith goes Zeke, Davis, Madison, Robinson, Jones. So this is actually hilarious. Like all of these guys are top 5, and it is incredibly close. Let's go. Twitch poll. Who are you sitting? Half PPR, Aaron Jones, Alexander Madison, Mike Davis. And for the purposes of the poll, pretend that there's no COVID issues and that all the games are definitely going to be played. Okay. IDP question. Oh, no, I already did that one.
How much would it suck if Alexander Madison got hurt last year right when he was about to get his opportunity, and then the game got canceled this year because of COVID and he didn't get a chance?
Yeah, then they had their bye and Cook could be back, yeah. Can Mike Davis get me Galladay, Allen Robinson, or Jamison Crowder? PPR. Well, maybe, because he might have 2 more games left in him.
I would try for that if I had Mike Davis on my team and I was desperate for wide receivers. Make sure that you have running backs so you can play over the next 2 weeks or so. But Crowder's probably the most realistic. If I was ranking them in terms of who I want to acquire first, it would be Robinson, Galladay, Crowder in that order.
Yep.
Yeah. He's got the Bears, then the Saints. 2 more games, hopefully, for Mike Davis. By the way, Shraggy B with the note. Le'Veon Bell is now down to 2. Uh-oh. Which lucky lady do you think he eliminated from that trio?
I think he eliminated Miami.
Chris?
That would make sense. Because he might not get to play against the Jets this week.
Oh, that would be funny, right? You're wrong. He eliminated the Buffalo Bills.
By the way, the average of that makes sense. That was the worst landing spot for him. The average of the 3 experts ranks is Mike Davis, Alexander Madison, Aaron Jones, 2, 3, 4.
There you go.
In PPR.
There you go. I don't know about half PPR, but there you go. Did you vote? I'm voting for Aaron Jones. Oh my gosh.
But if you include the projections along with the 3 experts, then it's Davis and Jones. So clearly I win. I've got math on my side. Okay.
From Ace Luffy, all caps, Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. Caught your eye, LOL. Good job. Bad take, but good job. Trying to trade to the Michael Thomas manager. Who should I offer? I have Calvin Ridley, Robbie Anderson, Jamison Crowder, Michael Gallup, Mecole Hardman, Corey Davis, and Hayden Hurst. He needs a wide receiver and a tight end. I also have Robert Tonyan. So, all right, don't give up Ridley.
Mm-hmm.
What about...
Who's he trying to acquire?
Michael Thomas.
Okay.
How about Crowder and Hurst for Michael Thomas?
I don't think you're getting him for that.
Yeah,
Hurst, I don't think Hurst has any. I think you probably try to go Tonyan.
Yeah, but then you leave yourself with Hayden Hurst.
I thought he had another tight end. Sorry.
Yes, he has Hurst and Tonyan.
Okay, I thought I heard you say Johnny Smith for some reason.
It's easier to sell Tonyan after his 3 touchdown performance, so I would probably look into that. But I don't think Crowder and Hurst or Tonyan gets it done for Michael Thomas, but you could try.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get that done, I would do it.
What about this? Would you do this? Robbie Anderson and Jamison Crowder for Michael Thomas.
I think it depends. It sounded like he had like 4 or 5 legitimate starting wide receivers.
Who else did he have outside of Ridley?
Yeah, well, if he trades both of them, he has Calvin Ridley, Robbie Anderson, Jamison Crowder. He has 3 legit starting wide receivers. He has Michael Gallup, Mecole Hardman, and Corey Davis. So between those 3, he's got good bench options for sure.
If it's a 3 wide receiver league, I can't do that. I can't give
Yeah.
up Robbie and Crowder for him.
That's crazy. I mean, I get it, but it's just funny to say out loud. From already read that one. Already read that one. I'm scrolling down. We just get so behind. AJ Brown and Raheem Mostert for Derrick Henry. Did we answer that one?
Yes.
Yeah, I said I would do it. I think Chris was a little more apprehensive.
I'm a little iffy on it.
From JFLO, do I trade away Clyde Edwards-Helaire if Le'Veon Bell signs?
I don't think you do it unless you get face value for him.
And you're not going to.
Yeah, I don't think you sell him at a discount on the fear that Le'Veon Bell might take his job, because that may not happen.
Would you, let's say Le'Veon Bell goes to the Chiefs, would you trade Clyde Edwards-Helaire for David Johnson?
No.
Ooh.
I would rather have CEH.
For Todd Gurley?
I would rather have CEH.
Agreed.
Okay. Here's one from Taz. Would you send Todd Gurley to get Diggs and Jerry Jeudy? Or Todd Gurley for Julio and Jerry Jeudy?
Yeah, either one. Probably Diggs.
Yeah, I would take the Diggs side.
Wow, so we like Diggs better than Julio rest of season.
It's really just that Julio's not healthy right now.
Yeah.
And, if this thing lingers like it has, Diggs is getting legitimate number 1 wide receiver targets.
He had 16 targets this week.
Yeah, John Brown, by the way, practiced in full, so that could take away a little bit, but he still was. They throw so much. They're a passing team. You know those Buffalo Bills.
And Diggs is just amazing. I think he's one of the 5 best receivers in the NFL.
I do not think he's one of the 5 best receivers.
Well,
he might be. He's really good. Maybe he is now if Julio Jones isn't what he once was.
I think I'm not talking about fantasy. I'm talking about just
I know what you mean.
Yep.
I think he's a better player than Chris Godwin. I think he's a better player than probably Mike Evans.
I don't think he's a better player than Odell Beckham, but that I don't know how many people still like.
Man, at this point, I think he's better than Adam Thielen.
I would agree.
Thielen's such an interesting player. I don't know how you could say that though. They were on the same team and Thielen was better, like consistently better.
They were used so differently, but the thing with Stephon Diggs is he has shown he can be like an elite version of that Jarvis Landry type player, where it's just like line up all over the field and take short targets and do something with it. And last season, he had one of the best seasons ever for just a pure deep threat guy.
Right,
so,
but when you put his full season numbers together, he's never been elite. This will be his first year as an elite player.
I get that. But I just think it's because he was elite last season. He was elite last season.
Yeah, he always had to share targets with Thielen too. But generally, I agree with your take, Chris. I think just pure talent-wise, I think that Diggs is one of the top 5 wide receivers in the NFL.
He might be. He's a great player. From Jacob, Mike Davis, Robbie Anderson, Raheem Mostert, pick 2.
Sit Mostert.
Yeah, I guess you have to. Are we at least a little bit? Are we at all worried about Robbie Anderson against the Bears? They've allowed 1 touchdown to a wide receiver this year. It was Mike Evans. They're a good defense.
No, they are a good defense, and I think that gives you slight pause. But he's just seeing so much of their targets. 28% target share. Teddy Bridgewater's playing really well.
I mean, who have they played? They played the Lions with no Kenny Golladay. They played the Giants, which, okay. Falcons, that's Calvin Ridley. They kept him out of the end zone, although I think he got tackled inside the 5 at least twice in that game.
But he had a bad game, didn't he?
I thought that was the game where he...
Let's see. Calvin Ridley. Oh, no, he had 5 catches for 110 yards.
And then he played the Colts, and I think... their wide receivers don't score touchdowns anyway, but I think Hilton drew a pass interference in the end zone on that one in that game as well. So, I don't know.
They allow the second fewest fantasy points to wide receivers. The good ones they have faced have been Mike Evans, who caught a touchdown, Calvin Ridley, who had 110 yards. So maybe they're not that good. Maybe they're paper players.
That was just an awful Matt Ryan game. He missed Calvin Ridley several times on what could have been touchdowns.
Okay, from Full Stack Sports, Odell Beckham for James Robinson in full PPR dynasty. Would you do that?
Oh gosh.
I don't know how to value James Robinson in dynasty because this feels like a situation where he could turn into a 4-year starter. It feels like a situation where he could like get off to a really good start and then stumble and lose his job. It's anything between those two seems pretty evenly possible to me. So I think I would be okay giving up Beckham for Robinson, but it's not a guarantee that it works out for you.
Yeah, I would shop Beckham around a little bit more. I just still think based on name value, you might be able to get something you feel a little bit safer with than Robinson, because I agree wholeheartedly, Chris. Like, trying to figure out Robinson from a dynasty perspective, good luck, man. And, I mean, Beckham's still 27 years old, but I think we've probably seen, the best days of Beckham are behind him. So
yeah, there's still, he should be better. And for some reason, him and Baker Mayfield, that connection just outside of a couple of games just hasn't really been there.
And they just don't want to throw. Like, the Browns want to run the football.
I traded Odell Beckham. I got Odell Beckham. I gave up Odell Beckham and Devontae Parker. Neither can be kept for Brandon Ayuk, Noah Fant, and a rookie pick. So James Robinson would be a pretty good haul, I guess.
All right, from Mondo FPS, full PPR, trade Julio Jones and David Johnson, get Michael Thomas.
Assuming you have running back depth, I would do that trade.
Yeah.
Okay. From Tatum 21, what's up, y'all? I need a flex in PPR. Darius Slayton, Christian Kirk, or Laviska Shenault?
Slayton.
I know Slayton did not practice or has been limited.
He was limited with, oh God, I don't know what it was. Let me look at my notes.
Being a giant.
But Washington has actually, their secondary has played pretty well this
They
season.
have. It's weird. I would start Shenault personally if he plays, even if Chark is in. That's my bonanza, the Jacksonville Detroit game.
I'll go Shenault if Chark is out. I'll go Slayton if Chark is in.
How's the Bonanza doing this year?
I don't know. I haven't really been doing it, to be quite honest. I don't really enjoy it anymore. Oh, who are you sitting this week? Half PPR. Alexander Madison wins the poll. Mike Davis, 51% for Madison. Mike Davis, 33%. Aaron Jones, 16%. That means
There you go.
Chris Towers voted like 15 times.
That is how it works.
That is how it
I
works.
do have that power.
Yeah. He paid like 100 whatevers to keep on voting. Apparently Dave Richards here. I heard him ring the doorbell. All right. Thomas says PPR, give Tyreek Hill, get AJ Brown and Tyler Boyd. Hey, it's Dave Richards.
Hey, I made it. I'm here.
All right. Give Tyreek Hill, get AJ Brown and Tyler Boyd. He still has Galladay and Michael Thomas.
I think that'll work on the trade chart. Yeah.
Good.
That'll be in your favor.
This guy just jumps in. He's not even like situated. Are you situated?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, not even close. You should see my
Needs to
world
turn
right
the
now.
volume up on the mic too.
Yeah, like you're already answering questions. You could have let Chris and Frank have that, Dave.
I will
They've
say
been on for an hour. They've had their chance to
we're
help the
getting kicked
people.
off. We're getting kicked off early now. Unbelievable. So
You want? I'll just get up if you guys want. It's no big deal to me.
he's got
Sure.
Kenny
I'll talk to you guys
Galladay.
in 5 minutes.
That's not good.
He's got Kenny Galladay, and he's got who?
He's got Kenny Galladay,
And Michael Thomas.
Michael Thomas, and Tyreek Hill.
I don't see why you're flattening out your talent. You should be consolidating, unless you're like, I can't really think of like a situation in which, like, I guess you might be in a bad shape because of your record, but I don't know. When I hit this point in the year and I have the ability and I have elite players, I'm not looking to get worse players to cover more spots.
Yeah, I think the point that you brought up about the record, Chris, like if I'm 1-4 or worse and I'm just like so desperate where Michael Thomas is out this week and I need wide receivers to play, I would make this deal. But if I'm 2-3 or better, I would hold on to those guys. I like Tyreek Hill in a vacuum better than those other two.
What do you think, Dave's chair? Okay, fine. Be like that. This is from looking for new ones. R. Kim, grade the trade. I traded Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Kenny Golladay for Julio Jones, Jonathan Taylor, and Nicholas Chubb. Give up Edwards-Helaire and Golladay, get Taylor, Julio, and Chubb, half PPR.
This is another one that might depend on what your record is. If you're 5-0, I love it. If you're 5-0, that's an A+ because you could afford to lose the next 3 games and then have Julio and Chubb and be like an unstoppable monster.
Yeah, this just comes down to record. I think if you're 3-2 or anything worse than that, I probably would not take that chance.
Cali Cowboy, man, this guy loves defensive questions. Should I trade Jamison Crowder for the Steelers DST? DST stats are a little higher than normal in my league, and I have good wide receiver depth.
No, I'm very strongly anti ever valuing DSTs. Because remember the Patriots after like 6 weeks last season looked far and away the best. And then they were like the 4th best, I think, the rest of the way. And that's really good, but I don't know. I never look at any DST. Like the Steelers DST wasn't great last week, right?
No, that's the thing. So they actually were good. I think the Steelers DST, and I might be alone on this, is a really good buy low or buy high, however you want to look at it.
Well,
I think that they actually could end up being a like league wrecking DST, or league winning is a better way of saying it, because their secondary has been trash, but their front 7 is by far the best in the NFL. They get after the quarterback like no other team. They are so much better. They have a ton of sacks. So even though their secondary is failing right now, they still have talented personnel. They still have Joe Hayden. They still have Steven Nelson. They still have Micah Fitzpatrick. They're going to start playing better. So I would buy the Steelers DST. I think that they could really separate themselves from just about every other DST and be a piece of a championship fantasy roster.
Here's my question. Let's look at the next 4 weeks. Would you rather start the Steelers or try to stream? Just assume you have your regular streaming options. Against Cleveland this week, you'd probably go Steelers, right?
Yep.
Titans in 2 weeks at Titans.
It does not. It just does not matter.
At Baltimore.
Now, I was looking at the schedule too, Chris.
At Dallas?
I see what you're saying.
At Dallas? Hell yeah, at Dallas. Are you kidding?
I don't know, man.
Dallas has 2 undrafted free agents starting at tackle and Andy Dalton.
Yeah, I agree.
They're going to destroy Dallas. The matchups don't matter to me. They are the best defensive team. They are loaded on defense. It's only a matter of they're playing better. And even with that, where do they rank? They've scored 9 or more points every week so far.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't ever like defensive production varies too much from 1 week to the next.
Not for them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it.
Also, Jamison Crowder has 100 yards and 7 catches in every game.
In any normal league, the answer for me would be definitely not. I don't know what the scoring is. Like Crowder, I love the Steelers defense. I'm not giving up Jamison Crowder for them. But I don't know what the scoring is here. Oh, it's 5:00. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah. Get these losers out of here.
I think you guys should stay.
Now we got another.
We're gonna have fun.
We have a full house here. Otherwise, we would definitely have them stay. But Frank, Chris, thank you very much. Much appreciated, guys.
The Steelers are the number 7 DST right now. Why are you misleading these people?
I said buy low or high, however you want to view it.
Unbelievable.
They also didn't play a game, Chris. So.
Oh, that's right.
Still, the point stands.
Sure. All right.
Alrighty, guys. Enjoy.
Good stuff. Much appreciated. Make sure you listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast if you want to hear more from Frank. Make sure you subscribe to the Fantasy Football Today newsletter. The Chris Towers Jam. Oh, Jake from St. Jude is here, and Dave Richard is here as well. First of all, Dave, good afternoon. Good evening, sir.
Whatever it is. Hello.
Yes. And for those of you watching on Twitch Sports, come on over to the FF Today channel. Ask us some questions. Our Bills fan, Jake from St. Jude, is here. Jake.
Look at that jersey.
Oh, yeah.
That
White
is
red, baby.
Yeah, that is a dope Josh Allen jersey, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you.
I
I got it for my birthday last month.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to guess 25, 6.
No, a little south of that. I'm 23.
23. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I don't know why I thought 20.
Who's older, Josh Allen or Jake?
He might have me beat by like a month. We're pretty close.
How you doing, man? How's everything?
I'm pretty good. How are you guys?
We're hanging, man.
Great. We're doing great. We're always happy to have someone from St. Jude on. We always have anybody, it doesn't have to be a special occasion. Go donate to St. Jude. It's an incredible organization.
Of course.
We raised a ton of money with St. Jude during our draft-a-thon. You were all a part of that. We really appreciated it.
Oh, yeah.
We're supposed to be talking about a Thursday night game here, but instead it's a Monday night game. But what the heck happened a couple nights ago? They didn't show up at Tennessee.
No, they did not. It was really quite disappointing to watch, and on a Tuesday nonetheless. I much rather would have seen that debacle on a Sunday at 1 a.m. so I don't have to think about it and hear about it for the rest of the week. But no, it's just nobody showed up really. TJ Yeldon had a good game. Other than that, I don't think anybody else really did. I was saying this to all my friends because I'm the Bills guy around here. I was telling all my friends that as long as it's limited to just that one game, I think we'll be all right. As long as you don't mess up like that, don't have as many unforced errors, as many mistakes. As long as it's just to that one game, I think we'll be all right.
And they've got to bounce back. And the problem is that this is like the worst possible opponent to bounce back against, but at least it's in your place.
Yes, and the Chiefs are looking to bounce back as well.
I know.
Off the Raiders, though.
It's crazy because two teams that have two MVP candidates, and one of them's about to go lose two in a row, I guess I should say. I was about to say go 0-2, but that's not exactly right. It's going to be rough. So hopefully they win. It's interesting that the Bills are only 3.5-point underdogs at home. You'd think that they'd be a little bit more than that. Makes me wonder if smart people think the Bills actually have a chance to win this game.
Of course they have a chance to win this game, dude. They're terrific. I hope they can get Tre'Davious.
They just went to Tennessee and played a Titans team that barely practiced and got shellacked.
Yeah, look, the Titans are good. They're good. The Bills beat up on defense. I'm worried about their cornerback situation. It's a huge concern.
Yep,
but
sure.
The bad games happen. Here's a fantasy question involving a Buffalo Bill.
Okay.
From Wasless. Who can I get in return for Devin Singletary? He did ask this in all caps, so we better answer pretty seriously here. Who
He
can I get
really wants to know.
in return for Devin Singletary? Dave, well, let's start with you. What would you do?
The timing couldn't be worse to try and trade Devin Singletary. He's having a bad game, and the Bills are rumored to be trying to sign Le'Veon.
Oh, they're out. They're out. It's down to the Chiefs and Dolphins, according to The Athletic.
Okay, well, that's good then. That's good for Devin Singletary. I don't know. I don't think the person who's got A.J. Brown is going to give up A.J. Brown to get him at this point.
Oh, God, no.
And I don't think the person that's got DJ Moore is going to give up DJ Moore.
That's interesting.
Do you think you could get CeeDee Lamb straight up for him?
I think that's pretty fair.
I think that's probably close. Typically when it comes to running backs, especially running backs like Singletary that should be the lead guy for their teams, you should be able to get a slightly better receiver for him because of the position scarcity with running backs. So I'd start with Lamb. You could try Devontae Parker. You can try shooting for the moon and go for Hollywood Brown, but I don't think you're going to get that.
All right, let's answer some more fantasy questions. Here we go. Welcome. We got another hour left. We got Gary Barnidge coming on in a little bit, former tight end, now on The Amazing Race. And that's Dave Richard. That's Jake. I'm Adam. Here are your questions. Thomas wants to know PPR, rest of season, Mike Williams or Laviska Shenault?
I really want to say Williams.
You do?
So I am.
Okay. Jake, what do you say?
Oof. Mike Williams, he seems to have a great connection with that young Herbert. But how do you say his name? Laviska
Shenault.
Okay, I was close. He seems to have a good repertoire with Minshew as well. So that's a tough question. I think I'm gonna go with the Jaguar there.
All right, yeah, me too. Keenan Allen expected back after the bye. From Pineapples, non-PPR, should I drop John Brown for Mecole Hardman?
No, unless you're 1-4 and you're certain that John Brown isn't going to play on Monday.
He practiced in full, so.
He's going to play.
Yeah.
That's a good sign. I'd stick with Brown over Hardman.
Simon T wants to know, does Amari Cooper have a big game against the Cardinals? Does Amari Cooper have a big game?
What do you think, Jake?
I that's a tough question to answer just because Dak going down certainly doesn't help that. And I really think Andy Dalton, he's just going to find one of those guys they have in there with Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, and Cooper, and just like keep sticking with him. I think Cooper's probably the most proven out of those guys. So I think he could very well have a big game.
Dave?
I agree. Listen, it's expected to be one of the highest scoring games of the weekend. And when I did my due diligence on Andy Dalton, I thought that he's okay as a passer, and Dak is a little bit better, not a lot better. It's the mobility issue. That's one thing that you've got to be concerned about. But I think Dalton can get the ball to these guys. Yeah. He can have a pretty good game against the Cardinals. I'm not going to say he's going to finish as a top 5 receiver, but top 12, sure.
Dak and Andy actually have similar passing stats for their first 4 seasons. So they, I guess in terms of like passing, they are a little more similar than people would give them credit for.
It's really true. And one of my favorite stats to look at for quarterbacks is bad ball percentage. And that means the percentage of passes that a quarterback throws that's uncatchable. And last year and this year, Dak was pretty much even year over year. And I want to say it was right around 16%. It might have been 13%. And last year, Dalton was 3 percentage points higher. That's it. So in the grand scheme of passing, that's only a few passes more that are uncatchable. So Dalton should be okay. You know, he's one of the best backup quarterbacks a team could ask for. Yeah. This is way better than if Garrett Gilbert or Cooper Rush were their backup quarterback. They'd be calling John Kitna right now saying, hey, how's the arm? Can you come out here for a few games and help us out? We're in a pinch.
Let's go to Rambo Riggs. Kenyon Drake or Brandon Cooks rest of season in PPR?
The simple fact that I have to think for a second about it is not a good sign for Kenyon Drake. It's true. It's true. And you have to be encouraged that Brandon Cooks had the game that he had.
Come on, Dave.
The first time I guess I'm going to say Drake, but
yeah,
I
know it's tough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Drake's got more value in trade right now, even now, than Cooks.
Arkspert says Kansas City is going down to the Bills 34-31.
Ooh, I like that. It's definitely going to be a high-scoring, fun game to watch. It's just I think who's going to score last is going to get the W. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of defense played.
Yeah, it could absolutely be that. Hey, Jake, I know that you watch the Bills all the time.
Oh, yeah.
What's your experience with them coming off of a loss? Do they usually bounce back real strong, or do they kind of mope around for a little bit and then they realize, okay, we got to win this game. Let's get to it.
That's a very interesting question to ask, just because this Bills team, well, at least it's supposed to be, it's so different from Bills teams of past, just because for my life, it's just been the drought era that kind of ended with the hiring of McDermott. I think with McDermott at the helm, they're gonna come back way better off of a loss than they would under previous coaching administrations. I don't know if they're going to get the win just because of how tough an opponent the Chiefs are, but I definitely think they're going to put up a way better fight than they did against the Titans.
What do you make of their defense? Why has their defense been so, quite frankly, bad this year?
Yeah, it's quite perplexing. I think you want to use the injuries, but that's more of an excuse than an actual fact. I think like not having Milano in there, he's one of the better young linebackers in the league, definitely hurts with his coverage ability. And frankly, the backup linebackers behind him just aren't on his level or even anywhere near it. Missing both starting cornerbacks definitely hurts. Yeah. But I think it's just they're just not clicking right now. They're just not doing their jobs. Like there was no pressure on Thursday or Tuesday night, excuse me. There was barely any pass coverage. The run defense has been pretty good the last two weeks. They basically shut down Derrick Henry, which is very hard to do. And they shut down Josh Jacobs the week before. It's just the pass defense has just been a real struggle.
Yeah, that's a problem when you're playing against Kansas City. And I don't mean to bring back bad memories, Jake, but the last time the Bills lost meaningful back-to-back games, because I'm throwing out week 16 and week 17 from last year because week 17 was meaningless. Week 16 and the playoff game last year. So technically they lost 3 in a row to end last season.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part stinks, but I think you throw out one of those losses because who cares about week 17?
Yeah, I mean, Isaiah McKenzie, a wide receiver, was playing cornerback for a couple snaps there in that game. So
they just wanted to get through that game healthy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get through this without sneezing, by the way. This is very difficult.
You got a cold there, Adam?
I don't know. So I was going to say, what was I going to say, Dave? It was really interesting. Well, it'll come back to me. Let me read some more questions here.
I think, that's what I think you're going to do is read more questions.
From Simon T. Amari Cooper, Jamison Crowder, Laviska Shenault, or Antonio Gibson. Start 2 of them. Amari Cooper, Jamison Crowder, Laviska Shenault, Antonio Gibson.
I'm starting the first 2.
Okay, Cooper and Crowder.
Yeah.
Jacob says Mike Davis, Robbie Anderson, or Raheem Mostert. Pick 2. Mike Davis, Robbie Anderson, Raheem Mostert. Pick 2.
I say the same thing I just said. First 2.
Yeah. Robbie Anderson's on a tear.
From Steve, T. Higgins, Deontay Johnson, or Mecole Hardman. PPR.
T, as of now.
Higgins, okay. From Rafifa 19, trade Aaron Jones for Chris Carson and Michael Thomas. Standard.
Oh my God, yes.
Okay.
If you're giving up Jones, it hurts to give up Aaron Jones, but Carson is a small step down. Michael Thomas, big step up. That's a win.
Especially in PPR.
Absolutely.
Man in PPR.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, man, Chris Carson's been doing a great job catching the football too.
True.
From CJ Goodwin 96, James Robinson and Devontae Parker. Give them up. Get CEH. PPR. Robinson and Parker. Edwards-Helaire.
It's too much to give up for Edwards-Helaire.
Okay.
Goodness, I can't believe that there's now like a 50% chance that Le'Veon Bell goes to the Chiefs.
He's just
it's ridiculous. Right before they play the Bills.
Can they make?
He can't play against them. He's got to go through all the protocols. So at least you won't have to worry about that. But so much firepower on that offense. What do you do? And that's if Le'Veon can find himself again, because the dude that we saw in New York, I don't think he had a carry longer than 19 yards.
Yeah, something like that. It was crazy.
Yeah, no, he like I've said this a million times. He hasn't had a 20-yard run in 2 seasons or 1.5 seasons, whatever, with the Jets. And he skipped 2018, 2017, did not have a 30-yard run. I understand that he's never been like a burner, but to now go 2 full seasons plus the start of this season without a 30-yard run is very alarming. There is no explosiveness there. I'm going to leave you. I'm going to ask you guys a question, let you debate it, and I'm going to come right back.
Okay.
Rest of season, Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson? Talk amongst yourselves.
I don't think this one's particularly close. Do I have to take the Lamar Jackson side, Jake, to make this a debate?
I mean, I'm wearing his jersey, so I think I got to go Josh.
I agree with you. I think that Josh Allen has really proven it in the first few weeks of the season that he's outstanding. And it's funny. I was thinking about this. This time last year before the season started, I was the only guy on Fantasy Football Today that wasn't all in on Lamar Jackson. I agreed that he was a great late round pick and that you could stream him to begin the year, but I didn't think that he had the skills to be as awesome as he was. And I was thinking to myself, Jake, what if this year were last year? And he comes out of the gate like he did this year, but last year, obviously he wouldn't be considered a fantasy stud. Obviously they might start thinking about cutting him because he hasn't performed like a top 12 quarterback. But there's no one that's going to even think about doing that this year because you know what his potential is because we saw it last year. I still think there's going to be a lot of good football ahead for Lamar Jackson, but I can't say that he's a better option right now than Josh Allen.
Yeah, I mean, Josh, he's just putting up crazy numbers. He's second in the NFL in terms of passing yards. I don't know about this. I think he's second in terms of total touchdowns with 17. I don't know if that's true anymore, but Russell definitely has the lead. But I think Josh is second with 17. And I mean, his turnovers have been limited. They're starting to get up there again, but his turnovers have been limited. So there's no real negative plays with him.
He's had at least 29 fantasy points in 4 or 5 games. Obviously on Tuesday, he couldn't get it done, but that's just mammoth. I mean, I'm looking at some of the other quarterbacks in fantasy this year. I'm not sure if there's anybody else who's had 4 games. Well, Russ has had 4 games with 29 plus.
Yeah, that makes sense. He's been.
Mahomes hasn't done it. Rodgers has 30 plus in 3 of 4.
Jeez.
That's pretty good. You want to talk about a guy that we were all really missing the boat on. That would be him. And then we've got Kyler Murray, who has at least 28 fantasy points in 4 of 5 games.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So, I mean, all the quarterbacks I just named, A, they're going to be better than Lamar Jackson, and B, they're right there in the same conversation as Josh Allen in terms of dominant fantasy passers.
Mm-hmm.
And the other fun thing about this is, Mahomes was one of those early quarterback picks along with Jackson. All these other guys you were able to find round 4 or 5 or even later. In the case of Aaron Rodgers, people were drafting him way later. And man, just unbelievable how he's come out of the gate. He's been playing super efficient football. He's been outstanding. And I don't see it slowing down. I think he's definitely trying to make his case for an MVP type year. When you were drafting, Jake, were you thinking about taking Aaron Rodgers? Was he on your list?
I mean, he's always got to be on your list. I didn't end up getting him, but I think he went in like the 4th round to one of my friends. So he was definitely probably later than he should have been. And I remember my buddy, he's big into betting. He told me that the Vikings were favored week 1 over the Packers. And I was thinking that's perplexing, especially with how big the Packers beat them, just because did we all forget who Aaron Rodgers was? It was just wild to me that the Vikings were favored, and how much unlove Aaron Rodgers, that's not a word, how much love Aaron Rodgers wasn't getting. But he's still a beast. He's reminded us, especially on that Pat McAfee show, that one quote he had.
Yeah, right.
He's still a beast.
That's right. His down years are other players' career years.
Yeah, it's a heck of a quote.
He's a fantasy superstar for sure this year. All right, I'm back. Thank you guys for holding down the fort.
Oh, we were cool just chit-chatting without you.
Okay, well.
You want to go, fix your cat's kitty litter or something like that? You got errands around the house?
You want to go
spend some time with your kids?
Kitty litter? It's a ton of fun.
I wouldn't know. I don't have a cat.
We bought her this litter robot. Anybody out there have a litter robot?
I saw a commercial for it and I thought it was like a spoof. Like I couldn't believe it was a real commercial.
Great. It's great. It does all the work for you. She uses it and then it just cycles and gets rid of all the, litter, all the waste. She doesn't use it. She refuses to use it. What's that?
Where does the waste go?
In a garbage bag, and then you take the garbage bag out, and it's it. It does it's really worth every penny, but she refuses to use it. So it's worth.
What if it's the only litter box in your house?
I have another one. I had to put another one out. It just sucks. It's like big, like a expensive hunk of junk now that she won't use. But all right, Dave.
Well, maybe your kids will use it.
All right, Damian Harris or Antonio Gibson rest of season, half PPR?
It's Gibson. As much as I love Harris, it's got to be Gibson.
Lamont87 says, Adam, why are you so crazy?
You're so crazy.
Take a stab at that. I have no idea. I've always been a little different. There's not much I can do about it.
You should see Adam after he's had about a half a can of Coke. Because he is just zooming off the walls, spouting all kinds of crazy conspiracy theories and movie, faves and rank lists for, Harold Ramis films. It's unbelievable.
I have not had I've had 2 sodas in the last 5 years and partial cans at that. So yeah, that's never happened, Dave.
What are your favorite beverages, Adam?
I drink exclusively water, basically.
Okay.
But if I were going to have something else, I always loved Coca-Cola. It's delicious.
Mm-hmm.
I like fresh squeezed orange juice.
That's always a good one. Yeah.
Great. And I would probably go with a Minute Maid fruit punch, just for a blast from the past, But Dave, growing up, and Jake, maybe you feel this way. After a Little League game, I would get a cherry Coke in a styrofoam cup with crushed ice. And it was the most amazing combo every single baseball game. Never forget it at the concession stand. That would be how about you, Jake? What beverage would you enjoy?
All right, I'm a big water guy as well. I got it here. Definitely love Coke. Probably a little too much. I like ginger ale. I'm not much of a juice guy, but Yeah.
And
Oh
I
yeah.
know-
Coke Ices. Oof, those at the
Oh
spot.
yeah, those are good.
That sounds good. All right.
We need to get one of those Coke Icy machines to our next draft, Adam. When we're all together,
That'd be good.
that would be amazing.
All right, Jake's here for a few more minutes, so let's get some more questions answered here. From Mike Ollie, rank them in half PPR. DJ Moore, Adrian Peterson, James White, and Laviska Shenault. DJ Moore, Peterson, James White, Shenault.
I think it's got to be the receivers first, Moore and Shenault, and then the running backs with Peterson ahead of James White.
Okay.
I like Peterson this week.
He's sick. He has an illness, non-COVID, so it should be okay.
Hopefully he's okay, yeah.
Chopped corn pickin', which is very similar to popcorn chicken. David Johnson or Cooper Kupp rest of season, half PPR.
Tough. I believe Johnson is higher in the trade chart, probably because he's a running back.
Yeah. Jake, who would you take?
I mean, after watching Cooper Kupp score a touchdown against the Bills, I think I gotta lean towards him.
Mean Machine 480, Laviska Shenault or Jerry Jeudy, full PPR.
That one's easier for me. I'd go with Shenault.
Cali Cowboy, start 2 quarterbacks, 4 point per passing touchdown.
Mm.
Roethlisberger, Brady, and Rodgers.
I would sit Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Okay. From SoCal Sun Devil. If Chris Godwin doesn't play, I have Godwin. If Chris Godwin doesn't play, I have Gibson or Hollywood Brown. Who would you start, Hollywood or Gibson?
Hollywood.
Okay. From Gyro.
Gibson's one of my favorite guys, but this whole McKissick thing is really ticking me off. Like, get him out of there. He fine. You want to let him have 4 or 5 catches a game. I guess that's fine. But let Antonio Gibson go, man. He's been great.
Gyro Joestar, or I could pronounce it Gyro Joestar, since that's how it's pronounced.
Gyro, yes.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Noah Fant, Le'Veon Bell. Those 3, Edwards-Helaire, Fant, and Bell for George Kittle and James Conner, PPR.
I think I like the Kittle Conner side a little more.
Okay. Jake, I'll give you one more here from Goldfinger. Todd Gurley or Terry McLaurin, PPR? I think that is a this week question.
Ooh.
You got Todd Gurley against Minnesota. You got McLaurin against the Giants. Who are you starting?
I like McLaurin a lot. He's a good player. He gets a ton of balls. He's got Dwayne Haskins he's not starting, right?
Nope, he's 3rd string now.
Kyle Allen.
Right. That's right. So I don't know. Todd Gurley, he had a good game last week. I guess I'd go Gurley just because the running back reps he gets.
Dave Richard?
I've got Gurley slightly ahead of McLaurin in non-PPR. It is really close.
All right. Jake,
PPR, you got to go McLaurin.
you want to tell us about St. Jude and tell us how people can help out?
Sure. So St. Jude, it's just this wonderful hospital down in Memphis, Tennessee. I've been a patient there for 20 years. I had a pendymoma, which is a type of brain tumor, back in 2000. So I've just grown up my whole life being a St. Jude patient. They do wonderful, amazing, life-saving work, clearly. And any donation really helps because patients there and families there don't pay for anything. They cover travel. They cover like medical expenses. They cover your food. They cover your housing. They do it all. It's really quite incredible the work they do. So I believe you can donate anytime from their website or just call. The fundraising department of that is just filled with great people, and they do just as much outstanding work as the hospital does. It's just I say this, it's a little strange, but I say it's kind of like my Disney World, just because whenever I go there, I'm just a happier person, which is very bizarre to say because it's a sad place filled with kids with cancer, but there's just a lot of hope and strength and just overcoming ability down there. So it's just a good place.
Well, it's incredible, and it's a incredible organization, and we're thrilled to be partnering with them, with the Draftathon and other things, and thrilled to have you on, and thanks for sharing your story, and thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. I absolutely love talking football. I was a broadcasting major in college. I like to bring that up, but I just have a great time doing this. So thank you for having me.
You're welcome, Jake. God bless you, and good luck to your Bills on Monday against the Chiefs.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
You got it, Jake.
Block football too. That's awesome.
I am loving the Monday night doubleheaders.
Yeah, it's great. Well, when they don't start, when they don't end at like 1 a.m, it's great. Like those week one ones are too late. These are good. All right, we got Gary Barnidge coming on soon. Dave, let's fire through some questions.
Sure.
Benjamin, start 2 running backs in a flex. Myles Gaskin, Joe Mixon, Devontae Freeman, Travis Fulgham, and Deebo Samuel.
Okay, so the first 2 running backs for sure. I will go Freeman over Fulgham if Alshon and Deshaun play for Philly. Now, I saw a report today that Fulgham's going to be a part of this Philadelphia offense for the rest of the season. And I went back and I watched his snaps, and I don't know, like he's a big body dude. He's a good perimeter receiver. He kind of played in that Alshon Jeffrey role. And that typically means you need volume in order to be good. I don't see him as a fast type of receiver, but one that's just got a nice big catch radius to catch whatever Carson Wentz is throwing at him. And he needs that right now. If those receivers or only one of those receivers play, I'll take Fulgham over Freeman. And by the way, Adam, I know you're the Giants fan here. We didn't talk about that with Jake. I feel like Freeman had a couple of plays where he looked like the Freeman of old last week and the week before.
Yeah. I want to be a little, because I've heard a lot of, Devontae Freeman look good. I said it myself as I was watching the game. We were doing the watch party on Sunday.
Right. It wasn't every play, but some of them.
It's the Cowboys, and he didn't have that good of a game.
No, I mean, at the end of the day, he didn't have a good rushing average, and you got to like the touches. That's about it.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's not like Washington's defense isn't exactly world beaters right now.
No.
I'd give him a chance as a flex, but in a league, if it catches count, I think Fulgham's got to go ahead for sure.
All right, Dave, we got our special guest coming on.
Yes.
Gary Barnidge. Here he is.
Yes.
To the show. We got another half hour left here. If you're joining us on Twitch, welcome. If you're on the sports channel, go over to our FF Today channel. If you have any questions for Gary Barnidge, fire away and we'll read them. Gary, welcome. Welcome to Fantasy Football Today. How are you?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Doing great. Dave, how are you doing? Doing well?
I'm doing good now that Gary's here. His 2015 season is the stuff that fantasy legend is made of.
Absolutely. Number 4 tight end in fantasy. 1,000-yard season, 79 catches, 1,043 yards, and 9 touchdowns. Well, first of all, thank you for coming on. Tell us about the Amazing Race. Then we're going to get into football and the Amazing Race. Go discuss.
Yeah, so obviously the first episode aired last night. As everybody saw, I'm not a drum player. I blame D'Angelo for me having to play the drums. That's not my forte. But we survived and made it to the next one, and that's all that matters.
I saw D'Angelo in the commercial. I had to do a double take because I see D'Angelo Williams running in the Amazing Race commercial. And then I see you. I go, oh, my God, these guys who were on my fantasy team and played in the NFL, they did so many great things, are on the Amazing Race. So it's awesome to see. What was the experience like?
It was amazing for us. Like, for me and D do everything together. We travel with my nonprofit. We travel just in general terms. We go to WrestleMania together. So, like, we've been close friends since our time in Carolina. So just giving us an opportunity to compete again at some type of level versus just competing against each other, against other teams, it was awesome for us.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I saw you really do love getting around the world, getting around the country, getting around the world, traveling all around. And it must be quite exciting for you.
Yeah, definitely. I love to see new things, new places. I think I've been to 42 countries now so far. So I love to travel, see the world, because there's so much beauty out there to see. And I feel like too many people are just content not seeing it. And that's not how I want to be.
Now, I think I know what your nonprofit is. And isn't it teaching football to others around the world?
Yeah, so it's American Football Without Barriers. We go overseas, do free football camps for kids, and we do it for women, men, all over. We've been to 9 countries, and it's just awesome. It's going to keep growing bigger and bigger, and smaller countries. We don't just do it in the big countries that the NFL tries to tap market into. We want to do it everywhere and give everyone the opportunity.
What's the smallest country you guys have been to for that?
Let's see. I'll just name them all. We've been to China. We've been to Brazil. We went to Turkey. We went to Egypt. We went to Finland. We went to Portugal. We went to Germany. And then we went to this past March, we went to Hungary. So I'd probably say
Wow.
Hungary's probably small. I would say Egypt small, Turkey, those are smaller that you wouldn't see most people go to, especially when we went to Turkey and Egypt. Everybody's like, oh, it's not safe to be there. When we went, we had no issues. It was awesome. The players had a great time because we bring 15 NFL guys with us.
Have you thought about going to Canada? Because they don't really understand football like we do.
Yeah, we've actually have discussed going to Canada do it at some point, but I feel like it's easier to hit that place sooner. Like anytime we want, we could just go to Canada. But the other countries are harder to hit to because you got to fit in their schedule. So I think it's awesome that we can go to all these different places.
Yeah. So you go to Egypt. What do they know about football? What was the experience like?
People would be so surprised how big football is internationally. They actually have leagues. Like Egypt has like 20 teams that actually play tackle football. They have a women's flag football team. In Finland, they have a women's tackle football team. Same in Germany. Finland has a Finland Hall of Fame. They've been playing professional football since the 70s. So like it's huge and people just wouldn't know this. But like Brazil has 30 teams. When we went to China, where we went to Beijing and Shanghai, they only had 6 teams. Since we've left, which was 10 years ago, they got over 16 teams playing. So, and then Portugal, we went to Portugal, which was my favorite story. We had some kids that were displaced from a fire. They had a wildfires that displaced a bunch of people. So we had some of the kids, they came out to a camp. We put on a special camp just for them. Like 3 days later, when they got home, they said they were going to start their own flag football because they had so much fun with football. And I think that's what we take away from it. And Portugal's also going to get the first all American football stadium. They're not going to play soccer on it. It's going to be just for American football. So that's huge.
That's really awesome. Really great influential stuff. All right. So let's talk a little bit about your NFL career here. 8 seasons, 4 with Cleveland, 4 with Carolina. First question for you. How much do you think Cleveland fans are loving the start that they're off to this year? Knowing those fans and how the kind of start they're off to, I mean, what kind of bliss is going on right now in Cleveland?
Oh, they're definitely loving it because I don't think they've been 4-1 in how many years? It's been a long time. So it's definitely great to see that they're getting that opportunity. I am interested to see the Pittsburgh week and when they play Baltimore again, because the first week against Baltimore didn't look as good as they'd looked the previous weeks. So I am interested to see. I told people last year when everybody's like, oh, Cleveland's going to be great this year. I'm like, it's a new coach, new everything. You have to take time. It's not just something that's going to happen overnight. All new players, all this type of stuff. And it takes time. Guys got to mesh together and they start to understand everything. So that's a big part of it.
Yeah. And it's amazing. It only really took them 2 weeks. Right? They got kind of beat up in the first game and they've won 4 in a row since then. So your 2015 season, top 4 tight end in fantasy. We're a fantasy show here. And just, yeah, I guess it sort of came out of nowhere, but tell us like what clicked. Statistically it did, but for you, what clicked that season? What helped you get to that 1,000-yard mark?
I don't think it was anything like that clicked for me. It was just getting the opportunity. I never had the opportunity before. When I was in Carolina, I was behind older guys, and then Greg Olsen was traded there. So that's why I decided to leave and go to Cleveland. And I was told I was going to get the opportunity to be the guy like Greg Olsen was, and they gave it to Jordan Cameron, albeit great guy, love him. And he balled out, and he went to Miami, played there too. So I never had the opportunity to play until Jordan went to Miami. Then it was my first true opportunity to start. And I was able to do what I was able to do. And that's the thing is like, it's just, I never had that opportunity to show it. I've always had the ability to do it because the previous year, Jordan had got a concussion and I had a couple big catches to help us secure wins and stuff like that. And that's why I think they went the route they did and let Jordan walk to free agency because they knew what I could do. And they all knew it, but nobody else did. And I knew what I could do because I've proven it. I've done it my whole career. When I got an opportunity, I produced. And that was my first true year of starting. I was able to do what I did.
So, Gary, walk us through that because we're always trying to find, myself especially, that next great tight end. And I almost wish I could compare notes with you on this. I don't know if we have the time to do it. But you knew that you could be that guy. Did a coach talk to you during the offseason or training camp and kind of nudge you and say, all right, Gary, I hope you're ready because we are absolutely going to lean in. Like, did they make it clear to you that you were going to be the number 1 tight end? Or did you just kind of assume that?
Well, I think it was made clear when they decided they weren't going to try and re-sign Jordan.
Okay.
Once they realized they were going to let Jordan walk to free agency and I knew he was going somewhere else, I was like, well, they have faith in me. So I'm going to really show them they put the faith in the right place. And I went out there and did everything I could to help the team win. Unfortunately, we didn't get the wins we wanted to win, but I was able to do what I could do to help the team. And I think that's the biggest thing. A lot of guys get discouraged because they don't get the opportunity. I didn't get my true opportunity to start until my 8th year in the league. So
it's unbelievable.
It took me a long time, but the ability was there. I just was never given that chance. And that's all it takes. And my biggest gripe with that aspect is because I run differently. I run a little weird than other people. So it doesn't look like I'm moving, but I ran good times. I ran fast. I was able to get separation. But when scouts look at stuff, like, they don't take that stuff in account. And that's what's frustrating as a player. You're like, I have the ability, but because somebody is saying, oh, he runs weird, he's never going to – that's a frustrating aspect as a player.
The other thing that I was thinking about was I feel like a lot of quarterbacks have a tendency every quarterback has tendencies, period. But I feel like some quarterbacks have the tendency to lean on their tight ends a little bit more. And I'm wondering if that was part of it with Josh McCown. I mean, you caught passes from McCown and I think Manziel that year.
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel like was it more that they recognized that you were good, or do you think their tendencies were, I like to look for that short target. Here's this big dude who moves well. I'm going to hit him. Do you think that quarterback tendency can help it or hurt a tight end?
I definitely think it can help, but I don't think it's just based on that, because Josh, he trusted in everybody, even receiver wise. I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to put it where it needs to be. I'm going to let my player make a play. If you make a play, obviously he's going to throw it to you more, give you more opportunities. He wasn't worried about, if I'm going to throw it right here, if somebody intercepts it, it's like the Brett Favre mentality. Hey, I'm going to try and make that play. If I throw an interception, we'll make it up next time. Because that's how Brett Favre did. He was a gunslinger. Josh is the same type of way, where they're going to run their route. They're going to be in this spot. I trust it. I'm going to let it go. Make the play. And he put it on us to make the play. And I was able to do that. And I think I gained his trust. And then he could just keep going to me and keep going to me. And then they had to start doubling. And that's when we opened the receivers. And I'll take that. Hey, double team me. Let one of my other guys get open. That's fine, because it's all about winning. And that was the biggest thing. I'm not one who is about stats. I was fortunate to get stats, but I want to help the team win, because that's the biggest thing in my eyes.
Dave, I got a couple questions here on Twitch from our audience for Gary. And please feel free to ask us some questions. We'll relay them. Well, first of all, Gary, do you play any fantasy football? Are you familiar with it?
I have been playing fantasy football. I'm not doing too good this year, just because there's a lot of injuries to the bigger name players this year.
Yes.
So some of my bigger name guys, they're injured. So I've been struggling trying to pick up waiver wire pickups. It does not work very well.
We'll try to help you out with that. Now, I don't know if you do waiver wire. Some leagues do fab, free agent budget. So here's a question from T McCarty 84. And with fab leagues, for anybody that's not familiar, you put a bid on a free agent, and whoever in the league has the highest bid gets the free agent. So my buddy used my computer and saw my bid of $8 in fab for Gary Barnidge, and he outbid me in 2015. He won the championship that year. Does he owe me partial winnings plus interest?
Well, if he owes you partial, then I should get partial too. I think it's only fair, right? I think that'd be only fair, because I did help it. So I think we're both entitled to some of the winnings, right?
I don't know if I want to agree to that, because then I might owe Gary money too.
That's a good one. ACG says, The Amazing Race is one of the best shows ever. I would love to do it. You have any advice for people who would love to do The Amazing Race?
If you want to do it, you got to try and attempt it, because we had one of the guys on the team. He tried 9 different times before he actually got an opportunity to do it. It's persistent. Wow. You got to keep trying. If you really want to do it, you just got to keep submitting and keep trying to do it, because it's an amazing experience. It's a life change. Only a limited number of people get to do it. It's just like the NFL. Only a limited number of people make it to the NFL. There's only been, if you do 11 times 32, I'm not a math guy, but I think there's 11 teams, and we've had 32 seasons. That's all that's ever done it. So there's a limited amount. So you might not get in your first try. Just keep trying, keep trying.
I think it's 352. By the way, Adam and I would crush it on The Amazing Race, but we're not allowed to be on because we work for CBS. It's just the way that it works.
Yes, bias there. Dave, you know the Fun 11s math trick? Did I tell you that one?
Yeah, no, you didn't teach me that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. 32 times 11, you take the 3, you put it on the left, you take the 2, you put it on the right, you add the 2 digits together, you put it in the middle. 352.
Too much thinking for me.
Multiply by 11.
This is really what Gary wants to talk about is mathematics while we're hanging out here. Here,
All right.
I'm going to change the subject to something more fun. Adam.
I got a viewer question, Dave.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Special K 2424. Your favorite moment partying with Johnny Manziel was blank.
Well, I was never a partier. I didn't go out a ton. I went to the movies a lot. I took fans to the movies, that type of stuff.
Cool.
But I think Johnny did get a terrible rap with that. Obviously, he did some of it to himself, but Johnny was actually a good kid, good dude. I do think he was forced into the starting role before he was ready. I think if they would have gave him a full year, he might have turned out better. But the fact that they rushed him into it, and that wasn't even the coaches, that was the higher up. They forced it basically into play. And if they would have gave him a full year, hey, learn, then things would have turned out differently. I truly believe, because he had talent. He had to learn, because it's a whole different game from the way he played in college. You can't play that way in the NFL. It's a whole different thing. So I think he would have really benefited from a year of learning.
Okay. You also played with Cam Newton, I think, in his second season. Were you injured for his rookie season?
Yeah, his rookie season I was hurt, and then I played with him his second season.
So what was it like for him coming into the NFL? Obviously, with a lot of hype. What were the similarities and differences maybe with the way he transitioned to the way Johnny Manziel did?
Well, I think with Cam, we sort of built the system around what he was good at. So we try to give it around him. We knew Johnny wasn't going to start right away. So Johnny had to learn what system we had in place. But I knew Cam going in, they knew he was going to be the guy because we didn't have anybody else. And they're like, oh, he's going to be the guy. We're going to build it around him on the offense wise. We're going to run what he ran sort of in college, and that's what we're going to do. And it benefited him because he was able to do that type of stuff. With Johnny, we had other people in place. We had somebody, we're going to have him learn. And then he learned the offense we were in, which is actually San Francisco's offense, because Kyle Shanahan was our offensive coordinator at that time. So it's a whole different thing than what he's used to playing than he played in college. So that transition was big difference.
Gotcha.
Gary, I know that I'm sure people bring up 2015 to you all the time, but do you have a favorite catch from 2015?
See, everybody wants to throw out the Ravens catch.
That's what I was going for.
Everybody throws out that one. Honestly, the Ravens catch was good, but a lot of that was luck. So I don't want to give that, I like the Chargers catch where I tipped it to myself in the corner of the end. I'd almost scored a touchdown. That one to me was better because it wasn't based on just luck. I knew where the ball was at and everything. The one with my foot to my butt, that was all luck. It landed on my foot and I just reacted to it being on me to get it to my hands. But the good thing is we won that game. The Chargers game, I believe we won that too. So just being able to produce to help a victory is huge. I think we hadn't won in Baltimore in a long time. So that catch obviously is going to stick out because of how crazy it was. Hasn't really been done before. I know Hopkins did something similar on his butt, but not with his feet to start. So it's a rare thing to happen. It was a little bit of luck, but I would probably say the Chargers catch in the corner when it was a corner route. Josh put it perfect place.
Well, if you say it, then that must be true. But I have to tip my cap to anybody who catches a pass with their butt.
Yes.
And I remember when it happened. I think I tweeted about it when it happened. I was like, Gary Barnidge just caught a touchdown with his butt. It's an amazing video. I'm going to tweet it out when we're done here.
I like it.
It's fantastic.
I had forgotten. I just YouTubed it while you were talking. That's pretty incredible.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, I didn't know I had caught it or it was a touchdown or anything until Mitchell Schwartz ran over to me. When he ran over to me, his facial expression told me I caught the ball. I had no idea. His facial expression was like, you caught it. I was like, I guess I caught it.
Yeah. Don't you have to act like you caught it just to make sure the refs call
it a
touchdown?
Yes, you do, but I wasn't sure. I gave the touchdown. I did everything. I held the ball, showed him it. I did everything I needed, but I wasn't sure. I didn't know if it hit the ground and bounced up to me. He had a better view. Mitchell's face told me I caught it.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
All right, here from a viewer. Mass Miami Law says, which current player does Gary believe resembles his style of play?
Well, I would like to say Kittle in the aspect he does both very well. He's a good run blocker and a receiver. I like to be known as not just a receiver because I took pride in run blocking and pass blocking because my first year in Cleveland, I pass blocked, I think, 50 more times than any other tight end in the NFL that year. And while Jordan was our starting receiving guy. So I took pride in doing both. I didn't want to be known as a one-way guy who only catches passes. So I would say try to mold in that aspect because I think Kittle does a good job in both.
Gary, have you had a chance to watch Robert Tonyan?
I have not. I know he had a huge game the other day.
He's had 3 straight huge games.
Oh,
You should try to get him on your fantasy team. He might help you out.
He's
But
probably already gone. I missed
Yeah.
a lot of those.
okay, if you're in a competitive league, then no
Yeah.
doubt he's gone. But he was a name that came into my mind too. And I don't think he's as seasoned yet as you were when you were playing, but big dude, willing to block, pretty good mover, and really good hands. So I mean that's a name that kind of stuck out to me, and I know that that's somebody that fantasy
And
managers.
he's
are
on Green
considering.
Bay, correct?
He's basically the Packers' number 2 pass catcher right now.
So it's like, for me, it's awesome. Like, he has Aaron Rodgers, Gronk had Brady, Kelsey had Mahomes.
Mhm.
I didn't really have any big names. I had a smorgasbord at times at tight end. So I'm going to take a little bit of credit too because of that. But I will say Josh McCown really helped catapult that year for me in 2015. And everybody wants to talk about, oh, it's 2016, you had a down year. I don't agree with that. I had 7 quarterbacks that year, and I was still a top tight end.
Yeah, that's rough. All right, let's talk about something that's very important in the world today: professional wrestling. You've been to a bunch of WrestleManias.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite one?
It would probably be 20. I believe it was 26. Was the second match between Shawn Michaels and Undertaker.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, Shawn Michaels' last wrestling match at WrestleMania, because he's my all-time favorite wrestler. D'Angelo's all-time is Undertaker. So for us, we almost came to blows because we were going to. His wife had to sit in between us, just because that's just our atmosphere. But I'd probably say that one because I got to see my favorite wrestler in his last WrestleMania. So I think probably that one.
Okay, that was a damn good one.
Yes.
I love. It wasn't Michaels versus Taker at WrestleMania 28. It was the Hell in the Cell where Michaels was the ref
Yeah.
with Taker and Triple H, and that was my first WrestleMania. And
Yeah, that was a good one too. That one
was an amazing show.
It was awesome. The dramatic aspect. I even liked the one. I didn't like the way they finished it when Sting versus Triple H.
Oh yeah, I didn't.
EX,
That was a
and
little
they had
campy,
NWO.
but
It
it
was-
is wrestling.
Yeah, but I feel like Sting should have won. I know he's WCW's guy, so they're not going to let him win. But come on, it's Sting.
Did you ever think about trying to go for professional wrestling and maybe try and go into the Performance Center in Orlando?
Not really, just because I've already taken a beating on my body. I know the beating they take day in, day out, and they don't get days off. They go 300 and something days a year. I'm not really trying to put my body through that. I've already done it with football. I enjoy watching it. They're the professionals. I'll mess around every once in a while. I do have a wrestling ring at my house.
Mhm.
So I have wrestled around. Me and D's got in the ring, some of my other buddies, but I don't think I'd ever want to do it full time. Maybe I might do a pop up here or there, but nothing crazy.
But if you did, what would your gimmick be?
See, that's a good one. So Jim Dre, one of my tight ends in Cleveland,
Yep,
gave me the nickname
sure.
the Enigma. So I'd probably go by that because I'm different than everybody because I don't really have to work out to be in shape. I can drink Coke. I don't have to drink water. I don't cramp. So like my body works differently. So he called me the Enigma. So I'd probably go in something like that. I would, my gimmick would probably be, I would be somebody who probably doesn't feel a ton of pain. Not in the same realm of like Kane and Taker because they still stay down. I would say you'd have to do something crazy to keep me down. That type of aspect be my gimmick because like the Enigma, I think I would fill in well with it.
Awesome.
Let me ask you about Rob Gronkowski. Yeah, obviously you overlap with him, and he was the king of the NFL, basically amongst tight ends. What do you, as a former tight end, see? Not now, but from prime Rob Gronkowski, were you kind of amazed at him? What makes him, probably?
I think another great thing with him is he obviously had Tom Brady, but he had the same system for his whole career. Like that's another big thing a lot of people don't take in account for is having the same offensive system where you don't have to learn something new and gel with all those new things. That's huge. He had that his whole career, but he was another one of the guys like Kittle. He can run block. He can get you plays in the pass game. He's going to do everything you ask of him. And I think that's the thing that a lot of players in the NFL lose at tight end wise, because a lot of guys get labeled, hey, you're only a receiving tight end or you're only a blocking tight end, because you hear it all the time. Oh, this is the blocking guy. They're going to bring him in. Well, things are going to – I think if you have somebody that can do both, it really transcends the way you can run your offense, because now they have no idea what you're going to do. Because sometimes you'll see like Jimmy Graham, they might take Jimmy Graham out and put in a blocking tight end. Well, you know what's probably going to happen. that's a big different thing. So you can really game plan like that. If you don't have to worry about that, hey, your guy can do everything, then your whole game plan is wide open.
Now, is that the type of tight end that you're looking for in fantasy from year to year, or do you just prefer the tight ends that are like Jonnu Smith, Darren Waller, where they could block if they needed to, but really they're more of like gigantic receivers?
Well, I think for fantasy aspect, you're going to go through receivers just because you have to be, or else you're not going to compete. You're obviously the exceptions of Kittle type. He's going to get you both of them. But I think you're not going to sign a Sternberger who's a blocking tight end. You're not going to sign those type of guys on fantasy and, I'm going to expect big numbers from him. It's just not going to happen, especially if you're trying to be competitive in fantasy. You have to go for the receiver type. But as a fan or as a former player, I want to see the position having guys that can do both, not just one.
Sure. I mean, Kittle can do both.
Exactly. Kittle can. He definitely can. And that's why I really enjoy watching his games, because the way he plays.
No doubt about it. Is there anything else from the tight end position that you think fantasy managers either ignore or don't pay enough attention to when they're trying to find the next great tight end?
I would say the system. You have to look at kind of system they're in. Because if they don't have a system, they might be one of the greatest tight end catching wise, fastest, whatever. But if they don't have a system that's friendly to a tight end, it doesn't matter. And they might not even change it. That's the thing. You have to make sure that they're in a system. Even if a new coach comes in, what did he run previously? Did he use the tight ends a lot? He did? Okay. Well, their guy might be somebody to keep an eye on. That's another thing I would say is a big difference. You have to make sure you know what the system the coaches run.
So like if Robert Tonyan was in Arizona, for example, Adam, that's a system that spread offense that Cliff Kingsbury uses doesn't really rely on tight ends very often. He would be a nobody. Fantasy managers wouldn't care about him.
Exactly.
But he's running the West Coast with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. It works out pretty well for him.
Yeah, it's a huge difference.
Yeah.
Gary, as a football novice, I'm amazed by Kyle Shanahan. When I watch the 49ers, I'm like, wow, this guy is incredibly brilliant. He's freeing people up. Their yards after the catch is always really high, and I think that's a testament to the design of his offense. You played for him. You watch football. What do you think about Kyle Shanahan and mentally where he's at, kind of just being ahead of everybody else, it seems?
I love him. I think he teaches the guys you don't need to think as much, because like his scheme, he has outside zone. He has a zone scheme running wise. Hey, go run. The running back will make you right. Just run your guy to the sideline. That makes it easy for the O-line. Okay, I'm going to run as fast as I can to the sideline. If the defense doesn't react to it, well, running back's going to stay outside. If the defense overreacts, okay, he's going to cut it back. Then you put a lot of pressure on the running back. It makes the job of the O-line easy, and it tires out the defense. So a long drive, they're switching in and out guys, and now you have their backups in, and your starters are good because this is all they do. They practice like that, and that's the way we practice. We practice, hey, we were in great shape because we're always running side to side, and you got to keep the defense that way. And I think it's a tremendous thing. It's a testament to his scheme, and it works great.
So when you played for him, did he come off as like a future, head coach kind of guy?
I definitely did, and I was upset that we let him walk and leave out of Cleveland, because that was a big mistake. He could have been the future there, could have been the future head coach, and things could have really done. We only had one year, and then we decided, hey, he decided he wanted to go somewhere else. It was more, I think, because he was forced on the quarterback that they wanted them to have. He's not the guy he wanted, and they forced it on him, and I think that's part of the reason why he didn't want to stay there, because you want to have your own say when you're the coaches. You want to have your say of who I want to do. I don't want to be forced. I think that's part of it, because it just wouldn't work with the system.
Gary, have you ever contacted a former coach of yours, like maybe even Kyle Shanahan? I don't know. When you've got a fantasy question or a conundrum for your team, and you just pick up your phone, you're like, hey, Kyle, yeah, who's their running back going to be this week? Just let me know. Oh, it's going to be Mostert. Okay, cool, man. Take care. Do you ever try and hit up your friends in the league still?
Never any of the coaches or players. I do talk to Fabiano every once in a while, but I don't try to ask about the fantasy, because then I don't want my buddies to be like, oh, you have an inside scoop. It's not fair. I don't want to. Hey, I'm going to go the same way you do. And honestly, I don't even watch that much football anymore. I just don't. I played it forever. So for me, I'll watch it just for the stats of fantasy, but I don't watch it in general terms just to watch it anymore, because that was my life forever. So I liked having to break away. So I try to do other things. So I don't watch it as much as I used to, but I would never. I don't think I would ever do that because I wouldn't want them to do that to me.
Yeah, it wouldn't really be an even playing field. I did see on your bio that you love playing video games and board games. So if you were gonna have a game night, pick one video game and one board game that you'd play.
Video game. Right now, everybody's playing Among Us. I'm really having fun with that. As long as you can get a big group, I think 10 people of Among Us is great. And board game. We play so many. I play so many different board games. Right now, I'm really liking Villainous, which is a Disney theme type of game, but it is a very strategy impacted game because you have a villain and you got to finish all your tasks before the other villains finish theirs. So you're going against each other and you're trying to strategize how I'm going to sabotage them, but I need to still win. I like the aspect of you're trying to outthink your opponent. So for me, I'm having fun with that game. And there's a lot of expansions, different characters, and everybody knows the Disney villains. So why not?
Yeah. Which one do you pick?
So the last one I was Scar.
Nice.
I did not win though. Very unfortunate. But it's a good game. It takes about an hour and a half of playing. So it's a good long game, which I like. So I don't like games that are over in 5 minutes. To me, it's not fun. I want a game that's going to last a while. But Among Us is different because it's like a 5 to 7 minute game.
Yep.
On video games, but you can just keep playing that back and forth.
My kids play it all the time.
Yeah, I never heard of it. I guess
fans of Among Us.
Gary, thanks for stopping by, man. We really appreciate it. We are looking forward to watching you on The Amazing Race this season.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. No problem. Anytime.
Thanks, Gary.
Dave and I will wrap up with some fantasy questions. Again, we want to thank Gary Barnidge for coming on. Awesome stuff here. And Jake earlier from St. Jude for coming on, and Chris Towers and Frank Stamfel earlier. And Dave, let's fire away here. We got just a couple minutes left. So
give it to me, Adam. Rapid fire. Let's go.
Okay. Let's see. Sterling Shepard or Darius Slayton rest of season?
Slayton.
Grade the trades. Sanders and Ruggs for Godwin and Kyler Murray. Sanders and Ruggs for Godwin and Murray.
I like the Godwin Murray side better.
Jones, Davis, Montgomery, Madison, Edmonds. Pick two of them in PPR. Jones, Davis, Montgomery, Madison, and Edmonds.
I hate saying no to Madison, but I think I've got to do it. It's got to be Jones and Davis.
Okay. If you're 2 and 3, would you trade Nick Chubb for Myles Gaskin and Henry Ruggs?
That's not enough for Nick Chubb.
Yeah, especially
you need that receiver to be better than Henry Ruggs.
Especially if Le'Veon Bell ends up with the Dolphins.
Yeah, you can't make that trade until you know where Le'Veon Bell winds up too.
McLaurin for Jones, PPR. I'm guessing that's Julio. Grade the trade. McLaurin for Jones.
It doesn't matter if it's Julio or Aaron. I think you're losing out on that one. I'd rather have the Jones in that case.
You'd rather have the Jones, yes.
Julio or, yeah, I guess Julio. I mean, we don't know exactly when he's coming back, but I still think he'd carry a little more value than McLaurin. And no one's going to give up. Who's giving up Aaron Jones for Terry McLaurin? Give me a break.
No. And nobody's giving up McLaurin for Marvin Jones. Who are the other Joneses we could think of here? Would you start Deshaun Watson or Ryan Fitzpatrick this week?
Watson.
And Dave, it's game night in your house. Pick the board game.
We usually play Monopoly.
Oh. Okay.
And I mean, yeah, we go old school. My kids love it. My wife refuses to play with us because she thinks I cheat at it. But we play some fierce Monopoly games that last several days. Obviously not all in a row. We take a break.
Yeah.
Yeah, my kids have grown up on Monopoly. We play a lot of Scrabble. We play Boggle. We do a lot of fun games. But that Villainous game sounded like a lot of fun.
Yeah, that did sound pretty cool, didn't it?
Yeah, I'm into strategy, anything. You've known me for so long. You know that already. But anything involving strategy, I'm down with.
I like Taboo. That's,
Taboo is great. That's a huge game in our family as well.
Oh, good. All right. I'm not the only one. Well, Dave, thank you very much. Enjoy your night off from football.
It's going to be weird. It's going to be weird not having football tonight.
It is going to be weird, but it's going to be nice for me at least to be able to watch some TV with the wife. I'm looking forward to that.
All right. What are you going to watch?
We're going to watch The Haunting of Bly Manor and probably Schitt's Creek as well.
Are you allowed to say that on a Twitch?
Hoops Creek. We're getting ready for it. All right, we got to get out of here, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. We will talk to you Sunday at noon. Your starter sit questions right here on Twitch. Have a good evening. Have a lovely evening.